Bonjour, voici vidéo 7, c'est le pronom relatif dont. The pronoun, relative pronoun dont, replaces de and an object in a complex sentence, and most commonly what we would say in English for a translation would be of which, about which, whose, and even very commonly that. So let's add this. Let's add that. We tend to use that relative pronoun in English the most, and you'll see as we translate some of these sentences why that's the case. But for the most part, you have to just recognize that don't is in a complex sentence, and we're replacing de and an object in that complex sentence. So I suggest that you pause this and read through pages 110 to 113 very carefully so that you see all of the examples and all of the phrases that they give you to get a full understanding of what this relative pronoun does. I won't have enough time to go through everything without making this about a 20-minute long video, and that's a little too long. So let's go right to page 111 where it says here are two different sentence structures in which don't is used to replace de and its object. And this is the important, well, the whole thing's important, but this is where you get some useful information. Section 1, verbs followed by de, such as the following: avoir besoin de, avoir envie de, avoir peur de, parler de, se servir de, se souvenir de, faire la connaissance de, and s'occuper de. Let's add one more. Venir de. We saw venir de recently. It means to have just done something. Do you remember when we used that? Oops, that's an E. Venir de usually has an infinitive, but it doesn't have to. So that expression venir de, to have just, we'll add that one on there. So read through those examples very carefully so that you know. Well, actually, I want to go through that because I want to talk about some of the translations. Let's look at your first example underneath those 7 or 10 verbs. Le ballon coûte très cher. L'équipe a besoin de ce ballon. Le ballon dont l'équipe a besoin coûte très cher. So see, you've got a complex sentence. The ball that the team needs is very expensive or costs a lot of money. So we're not just saying the ball is expensive, the team needs the ball. We want to combine that into a more complex sentence. And the problem is that we have that verb expression avoir besoin de. And when we have that de there, we have to incorporate that de into the relative pronoun. Otherwise, we'll have a de, a preposition, hanging at the end of that sentence. And the French don't like that. In English, we don't care. We can say the balloon that the team has need of is very expensive. And we don't care that we have has need of, just that of hanging there. But in French, they do. They care about their grammar more than we do in English. We've talked about this many a time. So they've incorporated that of into that pronoun so that they don't have it just hanging off the end of the sentence. Let's look at the next one. Le gérant parle du match dont nous nous souvenons. So again, we have se souvenir de, to remember, and that de would just be hanging there if I used que. So I can't use que, I've got to use don't. The manager speaks about the game or the match that we remember. You might want to say in English also, the manager, you could say, the manager speaks about the match of which we have a memory. That's a little bit weirder, but it gives you the sense of that de that would be left hanging if you just say, the manager talks about the game that we have memory of. We don't want that of hanging at the end there. we're going to incorporate that into the don't so we don't have it hanging at the end of the sentence. And that is what these are all about. These are just about incorporating the de so that it's not hanging at the end. We don't want to end our sentences with a preposition. The second common use of don't, number 2, possessive constructions even when de is only implied. So you've got a couple examples there. I'm just going to read the one with the don't. La course est divisée en étapes dont la distance varie. So look up above, look what was changed. The distance of the stages varies. The course is divided into stages. The distance of the stages varies. So when we have of the stages, that's a possessive, so we're going to use don't. The course is divided into steps or stages of which the distance varies. We would probably say that sentence in a completely different way because we don't like of which, but that's really what you're saying in this sentence. All right, let's look at the next one. Voici mon ami dont le frère joue au rugby. In this case, we would say whose. Here's my friend whose brother plays rugby. And we can't leave that, I'm sorry, this isn't, let me start again. We have the possessive here of my friend, so that's where we're using, why we're using the don't, and it translates roughly as whose. This last one is the same. Benoît est le joueur de football dont je connais la sœur. In this case, though, the word order is a little bit different between the French and the English. What you're saying is, Benoît is the soccer player whose sister I know. And notice how the word order changes in English. Whose sister I know. We wouldn't say who's the sister I know. I'm sorry, whose I know the sister. That would be weird, right? So we say whose sister I know in English. All right, let's go through the exercise together. Exercice F, en ville. These are long sentences, so I'm only going to be putting up the really important parts. Combine each pair of sentences using the pronoun dont and the modèle le chien noir est là-bas. J'ai peur du chien noir. So we've got our expression j'ai peur de. So I have to incorporate dont into the sentence so I don't have a de hanging at the end there. Le chien noir dont j'ai peur est là-bas. And notice that I'm sticking the dont j'ai peur, of whom I'm afraid, in the middle of the sentence. So it goes right next to the dog that I'm talking about. It's the dog I'm afraid of. The black dog of whom I am afraid is over there. So I don't want to put after the dont j'ai peur, after the là-bas. Think about where that goes in this sentence. It needs to go right next to the chien noir. All right, let's look at some of these. Let's look at all of these, really. Numéro 1. Le collier est en or. Mathilde a envie de ce collier. So we've got avoir envie de. We're going to use don't. And we're going to say the necklace that Mathilde wants is made out of gold. So we've got le collier. Dont Mathilde a envie est en or. Est en or. The necklace that she wants is made out of gold. Numéro 2. Les fours à micro-ondes sont chers. Je vous ai parlé de ces fours à micro-ondes. The microwave ovens are expensive. I spoke to you about these microwave ovens. So here we've got a verbal expression with de. Parler de. We don't want that de hanging at the end, so I'm going to use don't, right? Here's where I'm going to abbreviate a little bit because I'm going to run out of space otherwise. I'm going to go les fours. Les fours à micro-ondes dont je vous ai parlé what was it? Sont chers. The microwave about which I spoke to you are expensive. What would we say in English? The microwave that I talked to you about. We don't care that that about is hanging off the end there, but in French you can't do that. So we use don't and it gets rid of that de. Numéro 3. Vois-tu la grande casserole? J'ai besoin de cette grande casserole. That's numéro 4. Sorry, let's go back to 3. La vitrine de la boutique est cassée. Ma sœur est la propriétaire de cette boutique. The window of the boutique is broken. My sister is the owner of the boutique. Here's a possessive. We want to say the window of the boutique whose, let's see, how do we say it in English? That my sister is owner of is broken. See, in English we can't even get it to sound better because we just say it wrong. The vitrine. Where? How about where? We would say where in English. The window of the boutique where my sister is the owner is broken. Is that what we would say? If you guys come up with a better translation, let me know on Monday. Some of these are kind of hard. We would just say it in a different way completely. But we don't have that option in French. They're actually much more regular about all this. We have 10 different ways of saying all these sentences. They have one way. It makes it very simple once you learn that one way. So we have la vitrine. De la boutique dont ma sœur est propriétaire est cassée. The window of the boutique of which my sister is the owner is broken. It's the only way we can come up with to say that. Let's go on to number 4 now. Vois-tu la grande casserole? J'ai besoin de cette grande casserole. The casserole is like a big Dutch oven type pot or a soup pot. Do you see that big soup pot? J'ai besoin de cette grande casserole. So we have our avoir besoin de. We need to incorporate that. So we'll get vois-tu la grande casserole dont j'ai besoin. What is the rest? By the time I get through it, I don't remember. That's it. Did you see it? Right. Okay, we got it. Vois-tu cette grande casserole dont j'ai besoin? Do you see that big pan that I have need of? In English, we might say. Or of which I have need. Or that I need. We would just say that I need, wouldn't we, in English? Numéro 5. Je viens d'acheter une nouvelle calculatrice. Je me sers de cette nouvelle calculatrice chaque jour. I just bought a new calculator. I use this new calculator every day. Se servir de, one of our verbal expressions with de, needs don't. So we get, I just bought, je viens d'acheter une nouvelle calculatrice dont je me sers chaque jour. Je viens d'acheter une nouvelle calculatrice dont je me sers chaque jour. I just bought a new calculator that I use every day. Here again, we would say that. Numéro 6. Ce bracelet-montre est beau. Le prix de ce bracelet-montre est réduit. This wristwatch is beautiful. The price of the watch is reduced. So we have le prix de ce bracelet-montre. That's a possessive example. So we're going to use don't. And we're going to get ce, I'm going to abbreviate, ce bracelet-montre dont le prix est réduit. Est réduit, est beau. The watch whose price is reduced is beautiful. Okay, just a couple more. Numéro 7. Les enfants sont mignons, n'est-ce pas? Mademoiselle Abou s'occupe de ses enfants. So we want to say the children who she takes care of whom she takes care. See, here's where we have those problems in English again. But in French, very simple. We just say les enfants dont Mademoiselle Abou s'occupe sont mignons. Right? The children who she takes care of are cute. Numéro 8. Je ne vois pas la vendeuse. Je connais la fille de la vendeuse. We want to say, I don't see the saleswoman whose daughter I know. And here's an example of that whose, that possessive, la fille de la vendeuse, that would be whose in English. So we get, je ne vois pas la vendeuse, I'm going to abbreviate, dont je connais la fille. Okay? And here again, that word order is a little bit different from French to English. Here is, I don't see the saleswoman whose daughter I know. A little bit change in the word order there. Okay? So that is the pronoun relative dont. If you've got any questions with these as you go through your workbook, please don't hesitate to contact me. Remember that you need to position that phrase, that don't phrase, into the sentence at the right spot. So look at what you're trying to say in English and fit that in there. Usually it's going to appear right after the thing that you're talking about, right? Right after the object, basically. Or the antecedent, I should say, if you like grammatical terms, right after the antecedent. Okay, bonne chance, and this concludes audio segment 7C. Au revoir.